Hello again, YouTubers and Pokemon fans. Welcome to another opening here on the Poke Capital. Today featuring the Japanese Mega Audino EX deck. So there's a look at the front quick, and a quick look at the back. If you can read Japanese, well, there's the deck list. So let's just crack this open and show you all the cards they get, and show you yet again how much more awesome the Japanese decks are than the decks that we get here in America for the most part. So let's get it all popped out here. Looks like we got one card loose there, and then the rest is kind of in plastic wrap. I won't show all this part in full detail. This should be pretty similar to the Mega Rayquaza one we opened back in the day. I'll try to remember to put that in the iCards up there so you can get a more complete look at like the extras you get. It should be pretty similar and be a little different, but let's see, here's a book. Looks like a Japanese rulebook basically, which doesn't do much for me because I can't read Japanese. You get a playmat here. Let me see if I can get it to a point where I can actually show you something that's on it of relevance here. Oh, best I can do, there's Diancie, and if I flip it over the other side, there is Mega Audino. And on the back side of it, let me see if I can get a quick glance. Looks like just another playmat, another play field with, you know, how to play instructions. But again, it's all in Japanese, so I don't fully know what it's all saying, of course. You get the Japanese damage counters, kind of cool. I mean, these should be okay to use in, you know, tournaments in North America as well, if you just want to have a little something different than a lot of your opponents do. So that's kind of nice. And then, let's see. Looks like this just kind of shows you all the cards in the deck and what they do, maybe more about them. But again, all Japanese, so hard to go over that in a whole lot of detail. I can show you, though, this Audino, or Mega Audino coin. So that I don't think we've had in America in any way, at least not yet. And then I can show you the Mega Audino EX right away before I get the rest opened. 220 HP. If I remember right, the attack is 110, and if you play a supporter that turn, you can do 50 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon as well. I don't think it has to be an EX or anything special, just 50 to anything on their bench basically. So in total, it can do 160 damage with 3 energy. Not too bad, but you're not one-hit knocking out any EXs. Nobody's weak to colorless anymore, I don't think. I think some dragons used to be weak to colorless before fairy was a thing. I could be making that up. I could be totally wrong, but that's what my memory is telling me, but my memory has been wrong before, so no guarantees that that is the correct information, so take that with a grain of salt or whatever. Let me try to get this opened up here. Let me just do it and I'll do a quick cut. Okay, got it all out of the plastic wrap, so I'm just gonna set it down first. The first cards are the shiny ones. We'll actually go best to worst to an extent here, but we'll prove to you here how much better their decks are than ours, because our standard decks, unless you count like the XY battle trainer kit things, like the Mewtwo versus Darkrai, we don't get EXs in our decks, and those ones that do, those retail for $30. So, anyways, we already got the Mega Audino EX. Then we got a Diancie EX. We actually got 2 of those. I forget what the ability is. It's not a super strong card. It's only 150 HP, so I should have written down what some of these did, but my apologies. Being 150 HP, it's probably more of a support Pokemon, so the ability is going to be the main reason you run it. If I remember right, I thought it might be something that works well as like a one-of. I think it might have some healing powers, because there's a minus 30. So actually, I think it might be that your opponent's attacks do 30 less damage to the Diancie. So in a way, it's actually better than 180 HP, because it would have to do 180 to one-hit knock it out. And if it takes more than one hit, then they're reducing the damage multiple times. And then the attack does 60 plus, and there's a 50 in there, so I think it has a chance to do 110, depending on certain parameters, but again, don't remember for sure. I do remember that the second attack here for Audino EX, though, is Do the Wave. So it's like Wigglytuff from back in Jungle, the second set ever. Does 60 damage plus 10 for each Pokemon on your opponent's bench, I believe. So, ignoring things like Skyfield, if they have a full bench of 5, it does 110 for 3. So not super powerful. Then the Evolve form again does 110 for 3, plus 50 to one of their bench Pokemon if you play a supporter that turn. So not the most powerful ever, and being colorless, it doesn't have, nothing really has weakness to it, so it doesn't one-hit knock out anything important, but it's still a nice extra EX Ultra card. And obviously in total there, you get 5 EXs in their deck. Even in our XY trainer kit things, Battle Arena, that's what they're called. The Battle Arena decks. Even in those, for $30, we get 4 EXs, and they're heavily reprinted EXs of Mewtwo and Darkrai. But anyways, now to the rest of the deck, which I think everything in here, except for some trainers that are reprints, of course, are exclusive to this deck in Japan, and they should be part of our XY10 Fates Collide set in English, but they were not in the Awakening of the Psychic King set in Japan. Hopefully that makes sense. So we got Deerling, Fennekin, Gothita, Mr. Mime, Snubble, Cottony, Cottony again, Whimsicott, Meowth, looking pretty angry there, a Kangaskhan, pretty fierce looking artwork there, reaching into the, I was gonna say camera, but however you want to depict that, I guess. Minchino, Cinchino, and then on to the trainers. We've got Ultra Ball ×2. This is Fairy Drop. It's not a supporter, and it allows you to remove 5 damage counters from one of your Pokemon that has any fairy energy attached to it. You get 2 of those. Pokemon Catcher ×2. Random Receiver. Reveal cards to the top of your deck until you find a supporter card, then add that card to your hand. You get 2 of that. Audino Spirit Link ×1, I guess. Shauna ×4. Tierno, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Professor Sycamore, 1, 2. So you get pretty complete supporter lineup in this deck as well, which a typical starter deck here in America, the ones that retail for like $12 or $13, you don't get very many supporters, and you definitely don't get 4 copies of any of them. So you can get a pretty decent start to playing the trading card game with 1 deck in Japan, if you're in Japan and you're allowed to use those cards. Anyways, 2 Pokemon Fan Clubs. This is Lass's Recommendation supporter card. You draw cards equal to the number of opponents' benched basic Pokemon. So if we're running evolutions, or they don't have to have a big bench, it's not gonna be a very good card. But if they run, a bunch of EXs and basic Pokemon, and they have to have a full bench of, 5 or more, straight drawing 5 cards is pretty amazing. So, given the stipulations and how uncertain the outcome of this card will be going into a match, might be something you play maybe 1 of in a deck that you can, throw away with Battle Compressor or something, and then get back when it is a very useful card to use with a Versus Seeker to use during that turn. Your opponent has, 5 bench basic Pokemon or something, but probably won't see much, if any, play. Again, probably at most a 1 of in some decks, maybe. So you get 2 of her, though, in this deck. Then you got Fairy Garden ×2. You got Double Colorless Energy that has kind of like a fairy glow to it. It's got kind of a pinkish, lavenderish background hue to it. So that's kind of a nice, unique touch there. And you get 2 of those. You get some very cool looking fairy energy here. It says Pokemon, I think Card Game, XY Break. I mean, it just says, this is Pokemon CAME. So you can't see the symbol. I think it says Card Game, but XY is spaced out. So it's kind of interestingly formatted, but still a very neat and unique looking energy there for fairy energy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of those. So that is what you get in the Japanese Mega Audino EX deck. All the original cards you saw in this opening should be in our XY10 Fates Collide set in English that releases on May 4th. May the 4th be with you. So that's all for this video. Please subscribe, rock, smash that like button. Visit our website, thepokecapital.com. And I'll see you next time for some more Pokemon opening goodness. And I know I didn't do the Jirachi code yesterday. Maybe the other day. No promises. I'll see. See you later, though.